Hello, everybody. Welcome to the National Federation of the Blind of Missouri Meet the Blind Month project on behalf of the membership committee. And we're going to talk about air fryers, a little bit of different ones. We're going to kind of explain how to use them and things like that. And then at the end, we will open up for some questions and answers. I forgot to tell you, my name is Christopher Tisdall. I am the chair of the membership committee, and I'm also a board member on the state affiliate of Missouri. So first off, we would like to start off with Daisha Coe to tell us what kind of air fryer she has and a little bit about it. So, Daisha.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. So I have the air fryer from Cook's Essentials is the brand, and I have the smaller one. I have the 3.4, 3.5 quart air fryer, and it is relatively accessible. It doesn't connect to Wi-Fi or anything, but when I turn it on, it is set to the same temperature and time every time I turn it on. And then it has tactile buttons that I can press to adjust the temperature or the time. And it does have a few buttons for presets, and I know the order of which they go in, and then the power button. So each button is tactile and they beep when I press them. And then of course the timer beeps when it's done cooking or whatever. So overall, I find it relatively accessible. I had to have my husband, who can see, tell me the first time what the different buttons were and, which ones did which things. But now I feel more confident about using it, whether he's home or not, to fix food for me or my daughter or whatever. But so mine's the Cook's Essentials, and they have two different sizes. One's a 3 quart and one's a 5 quart.
Okay. Amy Wilson, I'm sorry, will describe hers and what model she has.
So mine's fairly, I guess, straightforward. I just was told to kind of get the big one. Don't start with the small when you're looking, because once you learn all the different stuff, you'll really like it. So mine is the Pro XL that you can get at Walmart. It has tactile buttons that have different stuff that's like French fries, cake, meats, different pre-settings like that. It did come with a book to try out some different recipes, which we've done. But it's the big Mama Jamma one. 119 at Walmart is what it costs. So that's mine. And it does, I can adjust the heat and time myself. It does beep and those sorts of things, but that's the basic model of mine.
All righty. Thank you, ladies. Next, we're going to have Debbie Wonder and Dennis Miller talk about their air fryers, because they have the same air fryer as I do. So Debbie and Dennis, you want to talk about the air fryer that you both have, same kind?
Sure, I will start. I have the Cosori Smart Air Fryer. A couple of things to note about this, because there's several different types of Cosori Smart Air Fryers. First, when buying one, you need to make sure that it says two things. One, that it says Wi-Fi enabled. Second is that it says Alexa ready or Alexa accessible. if you buy it from Amazon, you're pretty much insured of that. But it's very important when using the Cosori Smart Air Fryer that you get one that is at least Wi-Fi enabled, but preferably Alexa accessible, because otherwise the air fryer is in its original state is pretty much inaccessible because it has simply has a touch screen. It has no buttons or anything like that on it. So the air fryer that I have, when you buy it, and that's something else that I need to mention, when you buy it from Amazon, there is a box. If you buy it from Amazon, and I would certainly recommend that you, if you're really interested in this, that you try to buy it from Amazon, because there is a box that you check when you are preparing to buy your air fryer, when you're checking out, that says sync with Amazon program, with Amazon account. I'm sorry, sync with Amazon account. When you check that box, when that will allow the air fryer, when it's shipped to you, you will simply have to plug it in, and that's it. It will find the Wi-Fi network. It will connect to it automatically. That eliminates the need for sighted assistance. If you do not check that box, or you buy it from another retailer or eBay or whatever, then it is my opinion, and Debbie and Carol can disagree with me if they want to, but it is my opinion that you need sighted assistance to set up the air fryer. Once the air fryer is set up, then you do not need sighted assistance to perform the functions for it, because you can tell Alexa to preheat the air fryer to 350 degrees, cook it 400 degrees. You can tell it to one of the presets, cook it one of the presets. There's any number of things that you can do. There is also an app that goes with the air fryer, and that is called VSync. That's all one word. It's in the App Store. It's capital V, capital SYNC. And with that, you can also set the air fryer using that. There are a number of recipes that are on that app. So that pretty much is everything I wanted to say about the air fryer. I'm very, very happy with it. But again, if it were not Wi-Fi enabled, if I did not have the app and I did not have Alexa, the product would be pretty much inaccessible. Debbie?
Okay.
Okay. Well, I was going to say too, Chris, Carol also is on with the same air fryer. So
Yeah, but she's doing the VSync app.
okay, gotcha. Okay. So I absolutely agree with Dennis. First of all, when I purchased my air fryer, I purchased it using my Echo A Lady. And so I didn't know about, if I went online and purchased it, checking the box, which would have made life a lot simpler, because he is right. You will need someone that can see to do the original setup if you don't buy it that way. And also, as Dennis said, from the time though that it is set up, it is totally accessible by using her. I only have to tell her to start the air fryer, warm it up to such and such temperature. The Kasari air fryer is a square shaped air fryer. Other brands, a lot of them are round. I don't know if that truly makes a difference. I personally like the square. I feel like I have a little more space, and I do have the extra large as well. It's a 5-quart. So I find that it is extremely easy to take apart and put back together and to clean it. It is dishwasher safe. So unlike a lot of products, come apart in 15 pieces and you can't get them back together to use them a second time, it is very simple. So I don't know, Chris, do you want us to talk about any of the recipes or to do that later?
Not yet.
or-
Let's
Okay.
do that a little bit later.
Gotcha.
Debbie, I just want to clear up one thing, or make it a little more explicit. The baskets in the Kasori
Sure.
air fryer are dishwasher safe, and that because
Well, yeah, you wouldn't put the oven itself in.
well, you never know. So.
Well, he's probably really just making fun of me because this is actually my second air fryer. The
No,
first
Debbie, I
one,
would go.
the first, well, absolutely, you would know not to put the entire thing in your dishwasher. First of all, it wouldn't fit. But I had mine sitting on my smooth top stove, and somehow the cord caught on a burner knob. And so the air fryer does not cook as well itself from the bottom up, I can tell you.
So we know how to cook with an air fryer and we know how to cook an air fryer.
That's right. So, and the this particular brand, by the time it's all said and done and tax and delivery, what have you, it's about $119.
Right. Thank you. So now we're going to hear
Tisdale?
from Carol Morgan.
Mr. Tisdale,
Yes.
I have a question. We have a raised hand. When would you like to take questions?
When we get done here at the end. And
Okay. You just let me know
Okay.
when you're ready for questions and I'll start calling on people.
all righty. Thank you, Amy. Carol Morgan is going to explain the VSync app that's kind of important to go with the Kasari. Amy doesn't have one with hers, and Daisha probably doesn't have either, but there might be something that comes with one that you want to purchase yourself. So, Carol Morgan?
Okay, so the VSync is an app that you download from Apple Store, like Dennis explained already. On there, it has recipes. It has it can save your favorite recipes. And there you can go and set your temperature of your whatever you're cooking, the time you want it. It also has the different settings in there, like bread and shrimp and chicken. There's French fries. But you just, if you don't want to do one of those settings, then you do manual and you set your temperature and then your cooking time, and then you do the start cooking. It works really well with my iPhone, so I don't have a problem knowing what button to push. It also preheats it if you want to preheat first. I usually preheat my air fryer at 350 for 5 minutes. It usually sets, if you have it set it, like say Alexa preheat, and then you tell it the temperature, but it will automatically go to 15 minutes. So you have to adjust that.
Carol,
Yes.
do you use Alexa through that app, or do you use the app for some things and then use Alexa for other things?
You use Alexa for some and the app for others. I have never tried to find out if she would give you the recipes or not. But I'm thinking not. I'm thinking it's through VSync only.
Okay, for those recipes. Yes.
Chris,
Yes, Debbie.
no, it's Dacia. Something I wanted to say earlier that's for pretty much for all the air fryers is unless a recipe specifies, most of the time when you cook with an air fryer, you don't have to use any or you use very little oil. So it's a lot less messy than like using a traditional deep fryer. For instance, I saw a recipe for French fries that said, you might use like a tablespoon of oil or something. And that was only if you wanted to. So that's one reason I like the air fryers is they don't require the use of oil if that's not something you want to do, or if that's just, you don't want to clean up that much of a mess. So I really like that feature.
Right.
The only thing I was disappointed with the VSync about is, like I said, it has those recipes. And then it'll say, cook this recipe. Well, I thought that it would like preheat and then cook, but it doesn't. All it does is cook it. So you have to preheat, and it doesn't read you the thing saying cook this recipe. All it does is cook it. So
when you do biscuits, you say bread and it doesn't show you the temperature or the time. It just cooks them.
no, it does on that. I'm saying like, I did a chicken Parmesan recipe. It was, and then it has all the, it has the recipe with the ingredients and directions and all that. But at the bottom, it'll say cook this recipe. And if you press that, all it does is cook it. It doesn't preheat your oven. But that's only on the
VC.
Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie.
Yeah. Debbie.
I would say that most recipes do tell you to preheat the air fryer, but to be totally honest with you, I don't preheat mine. I usually add 1 or 2 minutes to my cook time. And Carol, if I understood you right, you were saying that you weren't sure if you could find recipes for the air fryer on Alexa.
Yeah.
Okay. I do get recipes from her all the time. I just tell her I want to know how to cook.
Okay. Here's recipe buddy.
No, shush. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop.
For example,
Oh my gosh.
say, "How do I make chicken parmesan?"
Well, there you go.
Well, what I was really talking about, I know you get different recipes, but like I'm talking about the exact recipes that you have on your Kasari.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Cookbook, and then it has recipes built in. So that's what I didn't know if you could get those exact recipes when you brought her up.
Okay. That's understandable.
I got her to be quiet finally.
It's also very important when you're talking about using the air fryer with Alexa that you be a considerable distance from Alexa when talking about using the air fryer with Alexa.
Just call her the A lady.
Great
So,
deduction.
what are some things that people have cooked in their air fryer as an example for people.
I made chicken parmesan in my
Okay.
air fryer. It was awesome.
Good.
The only
I've
thing
done. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the only thing I would have done different, it says to put the mozzarella cheese on top 2 minutes before it's done. And I think that that was too long. I would have done it only a minute.
Okay. All right. I cooked some pork chops in mine, and they really turned out good, moist, and it was even a whole lot easier to clean the basket in that than it was to clean the pan that I would have used in the oven. So I thought it was a win-win both ways. Debbie,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I've cooked hamburger patties, pork chops, chicken wings, chicken legs, and the thing that I was most fascinated by is that I've made boiled eggs. I thought, no way, I'm going to put these eggs in this basket and turn it on and they're going to blow up. But I cooked 6 of them at the same time on 270 degrees for 15 minutes. It was so simple. And then at the end of the cook time, you can either put them under cold water for 5 to 10 minutes or in an ice bath. Or if you really want to be um, quick and easy and no cleanup, just put them in a bowl and sit them in your freezer for about 8 to 10 minutes. And it cools them off just fine so you can peel them. And I was very impressed that the eggshell came right off. It wasn't, one that you wouldn't be able to make your deviled eggs with or some other egg dish at a holiday meal. And I was going to make chocolate chip cookies last night, but our kitchen is being remodeled and they came a day early to start. So they're next week.
Okay. Daisha?
I haven't done too much with it. We've mostly done things that are prepared that are easy to cook in it. Like I do a lot of like chicken nuggets for my kiddo. Although Justin tossed some onion rings in there the other day and then I made him share. But we recently just got some salmon, like canned salmon, and I found a really good recipe for salmon cakes. And I found a really good recipe for salmon fillets, which I plan on buying some at the store this weekend. It's like a garlic dill salmon. And I have a recipe for cauliflower because my family isn't too fond of vegetables. But if I can make them be a little crunchy and a little less healthy, even though they're still healthy, that might help. So I'm going to do I have some frozen boneless, skinless chicken breasts. So probably I'm planning Friday night to do those and some cauliflower. And I like that I can cook this chicken breast frozen. I don't have to thaw them out first. I just add a couple extra minutes to my time. I found a recipe that specifically says it works with boneless, skinless, frozen chicken breasts. So I like not having to add the extra time to thaw them out when everybody's hungry.
Okay. All right. Cool. Amy?
Yes.
What's something you've cooked in your air fryer?
I've actually cooked a lot in my air fryer. Tonight we actually cooked French fries, which we've cooked several times in our air fryer. They usually always turn out wonderful. When we got our air fryer, it had a recipe book with it, and we actually made macaroni and cheese balls. But they were, they did not say to, so we've had stumbles. There was like no flavoring to it. It was weird. It was like eating cheesy, I don't know, cheesy noodles, but not like, yeah. Anyways, but I've made cookies. I've done meatloaf in it. we've made eggs. So like we went canoeing in August and we took our air fryer with us for cooking and that sort of thing. And so we made scrambled eggs in it in the morning, and then we used it later to make hamburgers and French fries in it. It works great with chicken breasts. I've done homemade chicken nuggets where you just cut up chicken breasts and then you know, dip them in the egg and then like breadcrumbs type of deal. And those are good. Another new fan favorite in our household is garlic bites, or what I'm calling them, because it's in replace of garlic bread when we have spaghetti. I just put some butter and garlic powder on the biscuits, mix it around, and 8 minutes later they come out delicious. It's great. So I've done so much in it. I could spend the whole hour just probably talking about the different stuff, but highly
Okay.
recommend it. I've used it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even desserts because I've made cookies in it and that sort of stuff too. So
Good. Well, thank you. Dennis, you want to share?
Sure. I've made hamburger patties, biscuits, French fries. I this weekend tried breaded pork tenderloin, which didn't turn out quite the way I want it, but I think that's mainly user error and not uh, air fryer problems. One thing I will tell you about French fries, the recipe that is included with the Kasori Smart Air Fryer, I think is really designed more for a family than it is for one person, because the time that it says to make the French fries, which is 25 minutes, is way too long. So I've actually cut that in half, and that's still not perfect, but um, everything that I've cooked in there, with the exception of French fries, which were essentially left in there too long, and the breaded pork tenderloin, which I really didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, has turned out really well, and I'm very, very happy with it.
Okay. All righty. So as you've heard tonight, we've talked about 1, 2, 3 different air fryers, and we hope that we've given you some valuable information. Some air fryers will say they're Bluetooth. Well, that is meaning they're Bluetooth to your iPhone or your smart device. They might, I'll say it this way, they might Bluetooth to Alexa, and that's something you'll have to check out. And so let's open up for questions now, if our participants
we
would
have
like
had
to ask.
Yeah, we have one. Jay Rasmussen's had his hand up forever. So,
Okay.
Jay?
Jay, he needs to star 6 himself.
Okay. First question is, what type of baskets or trays or whatever you want to call it? And the second is, what type of tools do you use to get the stuff out?
Okay, that's good questions there, Jay. For the Kasari, it has kind of a 2-basket device. One sits inside the other one, and the inner basket is Teflon coated. The outer basket is just a metal basket, and it catches the juice or that from whatever you're cooking. As far as Daisha, what can you use a basket with yours, or is that a shelf?
Mine has a basket, and I don't know, I would assume this is a safety measure with all of them, but at least mine, if it's on and I pull the basket out, it stops it. So
Okay.
Obviously, when you're taking stuff out of the basket, it'll be hot itself, but it's a safety mechanism that the air fryer will stop when I pull the basket out,
Right.
and then
Mine
restart
does
when
that
I
as
put it
well.
back in.
I
Okay, I
think
thought
they
so.
all
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Amy,
Mine has
do
a
you have a?
yeah, mine's like you pull it out of like it's almost like a drawer insert into it, which I think makes it really easy. But it's got like a little thing at the bottom. But I use like the rubbery tongs or whatnot to grab things or flip things out. Is how I do it.
Debbie.
Right. Yeah, Debbie.
Also, I mean, like Amy said, you can use the rubber tongs. I have even just used a mitt that has the silicone on, on the palm of the glove, and just reached my hand in and turned things over.
So, a pair of tongs that, or even a spatula or that you could use for a Teflon coated, non-scratch, utensils would work good in it.
I would
I
definitely
just-
not do metal.
No, not metal.
Correct.
It says
Yeah,
not to use metal.
Well, yeah.
Right. For
Hey,
stainless
Chris.
steel.
Hey, Chris, it's Ruby.
Yes, Ruby.
Can we say something?
Okay.
Ruby's next on the list, Chris. I think.
Actually, Robin's
She's
next
what?
on the list, I think.
Oh, okay. Ruby, let us raise your hand and
Okay.
we'll post. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Robin.
Okay, Chris, I just wanted to comment because this is our second air fryer. We had a Cook Essentials, the basket type, like you guys are talking about, and we wanted to go to the 12-in-1. So for Prime Day, Kasari had the 12-in-1 air fryer oven, smart oven, and it actually works with the Echo. And the difference in it is it's got the shelf basket, but one of the things we discovered is that you don't have to turn things over. You can actually, and I found this out later after I did it, because I did steaks in it, but because you have more circulation underneath, everybody who has this one has basically said you can just leave it and, just leave the meat in and it'll still cook. Couple of things we made in our air fryers. The big thing I made that I was dying to make, and I did not want to do this in the deep fryer, was Scotch eggs, which if you don't know what Scotch eggs are, they're actually a hard-boiled egg, and then you wrap them in pork sausage, and then you roll them in breadcrumbs and fry them. And they came out really good in the air fryer. But we've got the Kasari. It's just that it's not, and this one bakes, broils, roasts, dehydrates, does all the different things, and you can still do all of that. Prime Day, it was, what was it, $149? $149 on Prime Day if we took the black one. I think if you took the stainless steel one, then it was $199. But anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. Who's next?
Charlene.
Charlene is next.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Robin mentioned it, but one of my favorite things has become cooking steak in the air fryer, because it really cooks a steak good. That's the best way I know to cook it now.
Okay. Cool. Good to know.
McGinnity.
Okay.
It's McGinnity Chip wanting to raise her hand.
Hi. Yeah, I did
Hi,
raise my
stranger.
hand. Hi. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to hear all of your voices. And I'm really excited about all this food fryer talk. So I was wondering, I've heard from people that when the air fryer cooks food, it has a different taste to it. And I mean, I'm sure it'll be delicious, but I wondered if any of you could talk about like what because I know it fries the food somehow with the air. Like, I don't know. I'm just dumb. I don't know. I'm a first year law student, so I feel like there are dumb things that come out of my mouth all the time. So I'm just gonna say that I want to understand how it cooks the food, I guess, is my question.
It's very similar to a
Well-
convection oven. If you know how a convection oven works, but Chris, you were starting to say something. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's very similar
No,
to a
you're
what?
fine.
Sorry, Dennis. Voiceover was yelling at me.
It's very similar
Julie-
to a convection oven.
Okay.
It moves air around very quickly at a very
Mhm.
high rate of speed and very hot air.
Yeah, and
Okay,
it's
that
also used its own natural juices and that. So
Debbie?
if you've had food that's been cooked with its natural juices, it tastes better than sticking it in vegetable oil or something like that. Go ahead, Debbie.
I was just going to say as well that although it will tell you to turn things, I, in the beginning, turned everything. And now sometimes I'll pull the basket out and just give it a little shake. But because of the way the basket insert fits in there, the way that in the outer shell are shaped, it will allow the air to circulate under it. And so I
Yeah.
find it cooked on both sides and all the way through. And things like wings in it are incredible.
I agree. I do not turn it either. The other thing that I will say is that if you look up a recipe, and a lot of recipes will say, or it says in the air fryer manual, generally things cook faster in the air fryer than they do in a conventional deep fryer.
That is true. And I find that the times that the A lady will tell you are pretty accurate, except that I add just that 1 or 2 minutes because I don't do a preheat.
Oh, and I find that things are crunchy, but they're not like, sometimes when you cook them in a deep fryer, they get too crunchy, but then they also get soggy. But I find that these hold they hold the crunch, but it's not overly crunchy. But like Chris said, they maintain their juiciness, especially if it's meat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So next question.
Holly Clark.
Hi, folks. I do also have a Kasari, and I really like it. I'm a beginner, and I picked up some good tips tonight, so thank you. One tip I'll offer is I got an accessory when it was so fun shopping for it. They have parchment papers that are cut for the Kasari with little perforations.
Oh.
And my jury is still out whether I like them or not. It's sure easy and a little less messy for the messier things, but I don't think they cook as nicely. So that was just a thought to share. And I do have a question about preheating. I'm confused with the VSync app. If I'm missing something, if I do a separate like 5-minute, start cooking to bring it up to temperature and then start it. I've been starting it over again with the actual time that I needed to heat something. So how should I better approach that, please?
Miss
Okay.
Morgan.
Yes. So when you're on the VSync app, there's a place that says preheat.
Yes.
So you touch that,
Okay.
and then you set your time and temperature, and then you press the start cook, and it'll preheat it. And then you go back and you set your time to cook it.
Oh, I am doing it right.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was a shortcut, so I would just set it once. And okay, thank you for that clarification.
Well, I do mine on Alexa. When I'm doing that, I say,
Oh.
Alexa, preheat, and it'll ask me what temperature, and I'll say 300 or 350 for 5 minutes. And then, but you don't say degrees because she don't recognize that for some reason. You just say
Okay.
300 or 350 or whatever. And then when it gets done preheating, then you do the same You tell her to cook at whatever, or heat at whatever.
Okay, and I've not used my Echo yet for that. Is it a
Yes.
skill we need to go in and set up?
Just say enable Kasori Smart Air Fryer, I think is what you say.
Yeah, Debbie, I think that is what you say, Dennis. And you can at some point when I did the original setup, it asked me what I wanted to call it. So I don't
Yeah,
have to say
change the name.
Kasari with mine. I just
Yeah.
say air fryer.
Yeah,
Wow.
I changed my name too.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, go into settings in your Alexa app and add it that way, but it should work by just saying enable. One thing I will tell you is that over the past couple of weeks, Alexa has become a lot more talkative with the Kasori Smart Air Fryer, and I can get a lot more information out of her than I used to.
Excellent. Thank you. That's wonderful. I'm so glad I got the information to join you tonight. And I don't know if you're planning another one, but I've also got an Instant Pot that I use with my phone with VoiceOver that I love. So I would vote for a seminar on that if that might be a possibility.
Okay, well, do we have another question?
No, that's it. And thank you all so much, very much.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Miss Allen?
Hey, everybody. First of all, it's great to be together. So thank you again for hosting this tonight. It's been very informative. Question is about the footprint of the air fryers. I have seen several different models, and some take up a large amount of counter space, while others are a little more designed to take up less. I'm just curious what people's experiences are with that.
Debbie.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay. I was going to say that the Kasori model is taller, but it does fit on my countertop under a cabinet. But I don't like the amount of counter space that it takes up. And so I recently found a new home for it that's easy to get to. So I don't leave it out all the time. And I'm trying to think of what the dimensions are of the circumference of it, but
I can't remember.
I don't either, but I don't think it's any wider, Pam, than say like a large electric skillet or something would be.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah, it doesn't take up much room. It's actually taller than it is wider.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
What about let's see, Daisha, your air fryer.
It has a pretty small footprint. It is a round one, not a square one, but it's not super wide. I can put one hand on each side and not have to like really stretch my hands out. I can just have it maybe a couple inches from my body. It's a little taller than it is wide, like Debbie's is, and it doesn't take up very much space on my counter, and it's just in front of one of my cabinets only because I don't want to risk melting the bottom of my cabinet from the heat, but it's relatively compact and not super heavy, actually, which is nice if I want to move it.
Right. Amy,
Debbie?
What about yours?
So mine is a little oval, but if you have one of those like corners in your kitchen, countertop or whatnot, mine fits perfect in there, and that's where I just keep it all the time. We'll pull it out a little bit when we use it, but it's perfect there. I would say it's like the size of a large like deep fryer or something, like, well, maybe not a large one, but I got
What
it.
about
Go ahead, Chris.
What about a Dutch oven pot?
Yeah, somewhere in there. It'd be a little taller than a Dutch oven. Like, it's not as oval as like a crock pot kind of thing. It doesn't take up that much counter space, which is nice. But like they're kind of the same with the Kasari, taller type of thing. But it's perfect. It's beautiful. I love looking at it.
That's super helpful. Thank you.
Debbie?
Thank you. Yes, Debbie.
I just wanted to throw out there, I know Daisha said that she was concerned about the heat in her cabinet. I don't really feel like with the Kasari that is an issue. It doesn't really heat up my countertop. I do pull it out a little ways just for easier access. But I don't feel like the outer part of it gets so hot that you need to be concerned about it.
I would agree with that.
I did notice
Yeah.
that, and I was actually surprised and glad that it doesn't get that hot. I like that it's relatively
Yeah.
cool to the touch.
Madam Ruby
Yeah.
Polk is next, Chris.
Okay. Let me say this. When I got the Kasari and was reading the manual, it does tell you to use it on a heat resistant surface, but I've noticed that it doesn't, the counter doesn't get that hot. The Kasori doesn't seem to get that hot either. That's something to take into consideration where you're going to use it in that. So, Miss Ruby.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I wanted to say that I got a very small air fryer. It's 1.5, so that is very small, but I wanted to try it out to see if I like it before I moved up.
Mm-hmm.
It was about $49 or $59, and it worked out very well. I just love it. I cook tater tots in there and different things like that, chicken nuggets and stuff, and I don't have to use a utensil to get things out. It's in the container is like two large coffee cups. That's the size of it, and you pull the container out by the hand. It has a handle, and you just flip the food over in your plate, so you don't have to use any utensils. And it has a knob. It has a knob that you screw to the right to set the amount of time that you want. Even though I have an Alexa, I haven't enabled her for that. I shouldn't have said her name. She don't talk. But I had a sighted person to help me set it where I wanted to set it for the time, and on top it's a knob to set for the degrees. It's not going to be, detailed degrees. You're going to get 300, 350, 400 like that. But I just love it. And I can when I want to, I can take my fork and stick it in there, and I can feel whether or not I like the texture of the tater tots.
Right. Okay.
So when you cook, I think you use a little of your own discretion about things too.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Ruby.
You're welcome.
Charlene is
Somebody
next.
else?
We have 2 questions left of people who have raised their hand. Charlene raised her hand again. And we have a Sheila, I think.
Who's not asked a question yet?
Sheila.
Charlene should be
Sheila?
unmuted.
Sheila. I'm bad about names. My bad if I butchered your name.
Is it Sheila or Charlene?
This is Charlene.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I unmuted her. We'll get to Sheila right after Charlene.
Your microphone.
No,
Okay.
it was just Charlene. I had it wrong. I'm bad about names. My bad. Sorry, Charlene.
That's okay. The one thing I also forgot was when you're talking about like French fries, or you're putting potatoes in the air fryer, or like nuggets or things like that, there's a sprayer, like an oil sprayer that you can get. It's called Misto, and you can get different sizes, and there are plastic ones and there are stainless steel ones. I've gotten them from QVC, and you keep your olive oil or whatever kind of oil you like in those. And when you spray, it sprays pretty good. It covers quite a bit of territory, and it sprays like I think it's a 1/4 teaspoon each time. So you can really control the oil, but you can put a little bit of oil on your fries if you want. And that's an easy way to do it.
And that's called what? I'm sorry, I missed. What is it called?
The Misto sprayer.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you. Now it's Sheila's turn.
Sheila.
Oh, finally got unmuted. Can you hear me?
Good.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Glad to have you.
Okay, I have had, this is my second air fryer. The first one I had was a Christmas gift a couple of years ago, and it was a Chefman, but it had a drawer-like thing you pulled out, but it had a little, like a tray that you put your food on that had little holes in it. I found it very, very difficult to clean that little tray thing. So about 3 months ago, I bought another model from QVC that has the double basket, the basket and then the basket over the side. And I loved it much, much better. Mine has the knobs. And what I did is I just had somebody pop over and label the temperatures and label the times. And it works perfectly for me. And it's a 3.7 quart. And that works really well for the two of us.
Cool.
But I
Thank
absolutely
you.
don't like the little grill plate things. They're very difficult to clean. And I found that you couldn't get them clean.
No, that's not good. So
I didn't like them. But I love
All
the
right.
baskets. We have no problem getting those clean.
All righty. Well, thank you. Do we have another question?
I think that's it.
That's it.
All right.
Hey, Chris.
All right. Yes.
I also made homemade tortilla chips in mine,
Oh,
and you make them out of the flour tortillas.
ah,
Chris, we
Okay.
did have two people raise their hand. Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you.
okay.
They were very good. I sent you those 2 recipes. Did you get them?
I have them.
Yeah.
I'm going to be working on them tomorrow.
Okay.
So who's next?
Jay
Amy?
Rasmussen.
Jay?
How'd you guys do, or whoever did the scrambled eggs? How'd that work?
So I did it in like a oven safe glass bowl, like one of them like cooking bowls or whatever. I just scrambled I had so it was for camping, keep in mind. I had scrambled them up in advance, but I sprayed the bowl and then I just poured the scrambled part into it. And then I just put them in for 5 minutes and then just kind of kept checking on them. So to say, but anywhere from I think it was like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. It was edible enough that my kids ate it and stuff like that. So, but
So,
salt and pepper and stuff.
so Amy, when you said you made the scramble stuff, you're talking about you beat your eggs, liquefied your eggs, and
I put them in one of
poured
those. I cracked them in one of those Tupperware deals, and then just that's got the mouth opening or whatever where you can pour deal. But I just shook the hell out of it before I poured it out of there to break up the yolks. That's just how
pour eggs.
I know, right? Salt and corn.
Okay.
Debbie.
Does that help you, Jay? Yes. Debbie?
I was just going to say, what?
I was just going to say, because it's got holes to let the air through, and when you lay that on there, it's just going to seep right through.
Right. And
yeah, you would want to put those in a bowl that's oven proof.
Well, and so like I used a glass bowl, but I've gotten like the accessory kits that you can get. They've got like these little casserole things, would also work just as easily. Like I've seen little quiches and stuff like that. Same deal. So you would just do it like that.
Okay, now I
Mhm.
understand.
All right,
Debbie, what were
Robin
you
and
gonna-
Mark. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie.
Oh, I was just going to say that. So, like all of the meat that I have cooked, the different meats, I have been able to just directly put them in the basket. But, Amy's right, and that's a great idea. But you can buy extra kits with extra silicone, like I have a silicone muffin pan and a small cake pan that are made for the kasari, but they could be used in any one as long as you had a large enough one, and they're not really that expensive.
They also say some of the recipes that are actually on the Gasari or the VSync app say to use parchment paper. So that's
Which
another thing that to line the basket. So that's
with
another thing.
baking, yeah, with baking like cookies, you need the parchment paper. But I haven't used
Right.
it with meats.
Mhm. So, okay. Did you say Robin and
Yeah,
Mark?
Robin and Mark have a question.
Okay,
Okay.
it's not really a question. I was just going to kind of answer Julie's question about taste. Here's what I found, that one of the things that makes the difference, like when you're cooking French fries, if you don't, especially if you have like frozen French fries, if you don't coat them with the oil, they won't taste the same. But when you add the oil and a little bit of salt, then you really don't notice that as much. And I found that a lot of things, if I just spritz them with a little bit of oil, then they taste more like they would taste normally if you were frying them. They're just not as greasy, but I just wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I do have some seasoned fries that I recently got that, pretty much taste the same, but Robin is correct. The fries, when you cook them in the air fryer, if you do not add some sort of seasoning or something like that, they can't come out tasting very similar to the way that they would if you baked them in the oven. That would be the best way I can describe it. But they do have, like I said, I have gotten some seasoned fries that seem to work really well. So yeah, that's a very good point.
I've never
All
noticed.
right. Well, I guess it's each to their own taster and that.
I guess.
I'm picky.
Chris, are you wanting any more questions?
Do we have a couple?
I don't think so.
Darlene raised her hand again.
All right, Darlene.
Charlene.
No,
Charlene.
maybe my hand
maybe
never
she-
got put down.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. No, you're fine. I just want to make sure everybody
Yeah,
got to
thanks.
do their say so.
All right. Anybody else?
I don't see anyone. No. Amy, do you?
All right.
Nope.
Well, then I will say that I'm working on a list of recipes, and I will be sending them out in the next couple of days to everyone that's on the call tonight. And I thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. Thank our panel for their volunteering to talk about their experiences with their air fryer, and that. To Dennis and Amy for helping moderate and that. And so if we don't have any other questions or that, we can call it a night.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was very nice.
Yeah, thank you. It was
you.
great.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys for coming.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
have a
It
Thank
nice-
was
you.
Thank you very much.
it was
Have a nice-
great.
It was
Have a
awesome.
nice
Thank
evening.
you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Have a great
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
All
And
right.
it's Holly, just with one quick addition, if I may. When I brought up the parchment
Yes.
paper before, I learned the hard way that we shouldn't preheat it. I smelled burning, and it's because it was flying all over the place and it was burning inside my air fryer. It's like, oh my gosh. So I wanted to make sure to mention that, I'm sorry, I forgot to share that earlier.
I did
That's
that with
fine.
I did that with a tortilla shell. I was
Oh
just
my
going to
God.
heat it up a little bit for tacos,
Yeah.
and I heated it too long, and it was drawn up into the air.
Oh, oh my
So,
gosh. See, I wouldn't have thought
yeah,
of that. So those might be
yeah.
thoughts to put in the resource list that you're going to send if it works with your format. Just some tips of don't do that.